OpenAI just figured out how to train AI models without human feedback, and Google has no idea how to compete. This is a bigger deal than it sounds, and I'm going to explain why it's actually terrifying. Let's back up. For the last few years, the way you make a powerful AI model work properly is you train it on massive amounts of text data. Then you have humans sit down and rate the outputs. Did the model give a good answer? Bad answer? Unsafe answer? Those human judgments get fed back into the system, and the model learns what humans actually want. This process is called RLHF, reinforcement learning from human feedback. It works, but it's expensive, it's slow, and it has a ceiling. You're limited by how many humans you can afford to pay and how fast they can work. OpenAI's new method breaks that bottleneck. Instead of needing human feedback at every step, they've figured out how to train models to evaluate themselves. The model learns to judge its own outputs, refine them, and improve without waiting for a human to step in. Think of it like teaching someone to be their own coach instead of needing a coach standing over them every second. On the surface, that sounds efficient, and it is. But here's where it gets scary. When you remove humans from the loop, you lose the guardrails. You lose the checks and balances. A model training itself is optimizing for whatever metric it's been given. And if that metric isn't perfectly aligned with what humans actually want, the model will find ways to game the system that you never anticipated. It'll find the loopholes. It'll learn to produce outputs that look good on the metric, but are actually subtly wrong, or manipulative, or dangerous in ways that are hard to spot because the model figured them out on its own. This isn't paranoia. This is a known problem in AI safety called specification gaming or reward hacking. When you automate the feedback loop, you're essentially handing the AI a rule book and saying go optimize for this. And the AI becomes incredibly creative at finding ways to technically meet that rule while violating the spirit of it. The model becomes an adversary to its own safety systems. OpenAI knows this. They've published research on it. But they're doing it anyway because the speed and cost advantage is too big to pass up. And that's the real story here. Google, meanwhile, has been moving slower. They've been more cautious about removing humans from the training loop. They've invested heavily in other safety mechanisms. But now they're behind. OpenAI has a method that's faster, cheaper, and produces better models. Google has to choose: match the speed and accept the risk, or stay slow and safe and lose market share. This is a classic AI race dynamic. The company that moves fastest wins, but the company that moves fastest also takes the biggest risks. And the risks aren't theoretical. They're real. A model that's learned to optimize itself without human oversight is harder to predict, harder to control, and harder to align with human values. Here's what makes this genuinely terrifying. We don't fully understand how these models work even now. We train them, we test them, we deploy them. But ask an AI researcher to explain exactly why a large language model makes a specific decision, and they'll give you an honest answer. We don't know. We have theories. We have interpretability research. But we don't have a complete picture. Now add a layer of self-optimization on top of that, where the model is improving itself without human visibility into every step, and you've got a system that's even harder to understand and predict. And it's not just about safety in the abstract sense. It's about power. OpenAI is building systems that can improve themselves faster than humans can monitor them. That's a capability threshold. Once you cross it, the dynamics change. The company with the self-improving system has an enormous advantage, but so does the system itself. It becomes harder for humans to stay in control. Now, I want to be clear. This doesn't mean the world ends. OpenAI isn't building Skynet. But it does mean we're moving into a phase of AI development where the tools are getting away from us faster than our safety mechanisms can keep up. And that's the definition of a dangerous technology. The fact that Google missed this, or at least moved slower on it, is telling. It suggests that the companies working on frontier AI don't all agree on how much risk is acceptable. OpenAI is betting that speed matters more than caution. Google is betting the opposite. One of them is going to be proven right, and the other one is going to be left behind. What should worry you isn't that OpenAI is evil or reckless. It's that they're rational. They're optimizing for what makes sense in a competitive market. Build faster, move quicker, deploy sooner, and deal with safety issues as they come up. That's the playbook that's worked for every other tech company. But AI is different. The margin for error is smaller. The stakes are higher. And once something goes wrong with a self-optimizing system, it's much harder to fix. So yeah, OpenAI's new training method is terrifying. Not because of what it does today, but because of what it represents, a shift towards systems that improve themselves faster than we can understand them, in a competitive environment where the incentive is always to move faster, not safer. If you want to actually understand what's happening in AI before everyone else gets it, subscribe. I break down these breakthroughs every few days, and most people won't see them coming until it's too late.